Only a 12th level intellect has the slightest hope of surviving what you are about to experience.
So it was called the Bat Wing in the 1989 Batman movie. They changed it from Batplane. I don't know why they would do something
They changed
like that.
it into Batman Returns or Batman Forever?
What? No.
What?
It was Batplane in like everything. And then it was Batwing from Tim Burton. Maybe Burton was like, the word wing sounds cool because I'm a kooky guy.
Bats
I'm
have
Tim
wings.
Burton. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first official episode of 12th Level Intellects. It's the for realsies podcast version of this thing that we do sometimes on the YouTube channel. This is hosted by the Watchtower Database. You know that because you found it through that probably. And my name is James Strecker, and with me, as per usual, is Mr. Ted Kendrick.
Pleasure to be here.
On the mic, hot and ready.
Hot and ready.
I'm drinking some kind of coffee that is pretty bad. It was a Keurig cup. We're not sponsored by Keurig in any way because this is bad.
Keurig.
That's a word, yeah. You're trying to say it. I don't know if it's being
K-cups.
successful.
K-cups, man. Just K-cups. You don't even have to say it.
What do you drink in there?
This is some just Trader Joe's cheap whole bean coffee.
You sounded so excited about it, and then you immediately dropped. Oh,
because it's not that good.
Yeah,
I'm like 4 sips
it.
into it now. Now I know it's not good.
Hey, so what's this show about? It's not about talking about coffee.
Not yet.
Although we'll end up doing that probably.
And our logo has coffee cups. So.
That's true. That was a good accidental segue. But we're going to talk about pretty much anything to do with DC Comics, some recent news and topics and such, but with an emphasis on the DC Animated Universe and DC animation in general. Because that's what we talk. That's what we know a lot about. Because
that's
we're
our niche,
guys. Yeah. Niche. What should we do first?
Well, let's talk about why we're doing this as a podcast now. We started it off as 12th Level Intellects as fan theory discussions on YouTube, where we were doing stuff like who's Harley's father. Could Warhawk
be one of the more popular videos on the channel? Yeah,
that one for sure. Yeah, and then we've got stuff like Agent West from Zeta Project, his connection to Wally West, or if Warhawk is actually the son of Hawkman, and
all sorts of stuff that we were just finding on the internet that seemed like good discussion topics to kind of jumpstart the channel when we started it like a couple years ago, and a year and a half, I don't know.
It was about 2 years ago. Yeah, I think we just had the 2-year anniversary.
November 2015.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah. And, but I don't know. I like to listen to nerdy people talk about things that they know about. And so I figured maybe other people wanted to hear us talk about that stuff too, because why not? Sometimes
we'll see if that's not
things.
True. If it is true, subscribe and like and all that.
We're already a few minutes into it. If you're enjoying it so far, then hopefully it gets better from here.
Yeah, I think it will. We're still gonna tackle those fan theories and whatnot as well. I think every episode we're gonna strive to have a kind of general topic, which today we'll get to that soon. I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
it's in the title of this thing. You already know what you're in for.
What are we in for? When the
the fan theories. I was gonna reiterate. Yeah, we'll there's a long list of them that we set out to talk about when we started doing that, and only did like 3 or 4 or 5 maximum. So we'll get back to those at some point. Maybe 2 or 3 an episode down the road or something like that.
That sounds good to me.
And it's this is every other Monday, hopefully, unless that changes, which it might. But you know,
aiming for twice a month at least.
Yeah, it's a good goal. And it's you're probably listening to it either on YouTube or SoundCloud right now. Those are the 2 places you can find this. And now the boring stuff's over.
So we're gonna try to frame each podcast with a couple news topics. We can look at relevant recent news about DC Comics, DC Animation. Occasionally DCAU, because that's getting a bit of a resurgence right now. So So James found 5 topics. I found 5 topics. Maybe they're the same topics, so we don't know.
Yeah,
but
they
we'll
might
find
overlap.
out.
Let me get back to where my news. Okay, here we go.
You want to alternate? You want to do one? I'll do one. Go
I'll
back and
do
forth.
one.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So there's a 10th anniversary Blu-ray like combo pack of all the DC animated movies that have come out since the
2007, right?
Yeah, since
10th anniversary.
JLU's been over. Yeah. That was probably. It looks like that was one of your things you were going to talk about because you're smiling, but maybe
No,
not.
actually, I didn't have it on my list. No, this is all you.
Okay. Okay. I don't have much to say about it except because I've only seen maybe half of them, but I will probably not buy this.
There's so many. How many are there? Is it 28? Am I right?
You know,
point?
that might be something that I should know. 30.
30.
It says.
With Batman
Wait.
and Harley Quinn?
Maybe. You know, I should probably know more about this before we discuss. But I'm already discussing it, so it's gonna be $300 to buy this. I mean, I guess I'm making it sound pretty bad when really you should go out.
I'm sure it's gonna be a huge. Like I have the complete Batman animated series.
Yeah.
And that was probably a little over 100, but you're looking at like at least 12 discs. You know.
Yeah, I think I think it looks to be every like normal. I'm sure that they didn't re-burn these or anything. They're probably just repackaging what they already had. So it probably has all the special features and everything. I'm gonna guess anyway. Don't take my word for that. But each disc would probably have in the first place. So like, if I don't know, Superman Doomsday maybe had some cool thing about Doomsday. That'll probably be on there. Who knows?
Yeah.
The box art perplexes me because it's all their like Rebirth costume designs, but there's not any of those movies have these costume designs, so it's kind of misleading.
If anything, the more recent DC animated movie verse kind of ripped off the New 52.
Yeah,
not ripped off, but inspired by.
Yeah, you can't really rip off yourself.
No.
Well, I guess you can. There's probably plenty of characters in DC Comics that are just the same character in a different costume. Yeah, but that may be a topic for another episode.
Yeah. Well, I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm out of information for this. Buy it, maybe.
Right. Our next animated movie is Gotham by Gaslight. Which is it's an adaptation from the first comic that was ever published in the Elseworlds line, and it was written by. Yeah, Brian Augustin with art by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola. So
hey, wait a second.
Yeah. And clap.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
All right. On 3 and then clap, right? All right. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Stop saying clap when you do. Future James, sorry about that. Okay, start over on your. We had to restart recording. Do it again.
Yeah, James got the clap while we're offline.
I got the clap. Don't tell people that. This is news to me. This is the news section, everyone. We're breaking news. James has the clap.
Oh no! All right, so breaking news. From my first one, I want to talk about the upcoming DC animated movie Gotham by Gaslight, which is an adaptation of Brian Augustin and Hellboy creator Mike Mignola's book that they did together. It was the first book that was part of the Elseworlds line, which was DC's kind of like sub-imprint for out of continuity stories.
It's pretty much an excuse for I want to tell a story and not have to. It's an excuse for being Bruce Timm. I want to tell a story and not have to go check everything in the past, make sure it doesn't contradict anything, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. In this case, it's an excuse to go back to the 19th century and do a Victorian era version of Batman. And he'll be fighting Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I have not read it, so I look forward to hopefully reading it first and then watching it. I like to try to read it first to see the differences.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
it's worth the read. The art is amazing. Mignola. I'm sure if you're familiar with Hellboy.
I'm familiar with the character. I've never seen the movie or whatever.
Yeah. I think his art style is going to be perfect for animation because it's
well, he did the Mr.
so
Freeze design.
Streamlined. Yeah. Mignola did Mr. Freeze for Batman the Animated Series. He designed that character. Yeah, his big attention on shadows and contrast. I think. The trailer is out, so it looks great.
Yeah, I can't decide if once again I kind of get the same feeling as the Killing Joke with this, where I want it to be almost a more as close as possible copy of what the art looks like in the book, like including color scheme and how heavy the shadows are and everything. Like I understand that, from an animation standpoint, it's a lot easier to animate things that are more fluidly stylized, I guess, like not as blocky or sketch looking and stuff like that. But at the same time, if they took more time with it and just tried to do that, I think it'd be more enjoyable. Because you're like, wow, it's like it's leaping right off the page instead of just like this all kind of looks like a cartoon and kind of looks like the comic. I don't know. Someone did like a Killing Joke trailer on YouTube where they recolored it to look like the book, and I was like, oh man, this would have been so cool. Well.
Yeah. I guess it all comes down to coloring and whatnot. You don't want it to look too much like a motion comic though, either.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
it's a fine line. All right, you're up.
Yeah. Okay. My next thing was there's a Teen Titans Go feature film coming out next year.
Yeah, it is. I got that on my list.
That's my reaction, I guess, because I have never watched a full. Okay, I've watched one, I think, full episode of Teen Titans Go, and it was on accident because there used to be the apartment complex I used to live in had a fitness building, and I would go there and run on the treadmill sometimes, and they had this old janky TV in the corner of the room. And it would just be on default Cartoon Network. Like someone set it to that, and you couldn't change it because you could change the TV channel, but it was on satellite. Anyway, it was so Teen Titans Go came on, and I was like, oh, well, at least it's this, and I don't have to watch some cartoon I've never heard of. But then it was the episode where I don't know if you've seen it, but they have the weird little worm alien.
Yeah, Silky.
Sure.
Or something like that.
It goes around. I should know this, but
you're not qualified to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm not. It goes around to the different Teen Titans members as they're sleeping, and it goes and absorbs their dreams, and you get to see what each member is dreaming. And each dream is in a different art style. And Robin's dream is in the original Teen Titans cartoon art style, and is really realistic and action-packed and stuff. And I was just glued watching it, oh my god, this is amazing, there's more Teen Titans. And then he leaves the dream, and it's back to this weird little chibi cartoony thing, and it was like, ugh. I don't think I'm like most people where they just outright hate it because it's not more Teen Titans. I just don't like it because it's not that funny. I guess. I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah. It's gonna be really interesting to see how they adapt 11 minutes into 90 minutes. Because this is a super short episodes on this.
It seems that they don't usually have much of a plot for these. They're more like Robin lost a sandwich or something is the plot of an entire episode. So what's the movie going to be?
I saw the one where Young Justice crosses over. And, that was pretty funny. But it was at the time where season 2 had been canceled, and
they didn't have. It
was kind of like a slap in the face to fancy Young Justice.
Well,
this is how you're gonna bring it back. But
you still get Teen Titans Go, but that thing that you want. Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly. That's actually a good segue into my next item, which is Young Justice Outsiders Season 3.
Oh, okay. We're 4 for 4.
Nice.
I did not have this one.
Nice. Well, I had Teen Titans Go.
Anyway, sorry.
All right. So Young Justice Outsiders is coming next year in 2018 on DC's streaming app, and it's going to include new heroes such as Static is joining the team, and Arrowette, and Tracy 13. Who's Blue Beetle's girlfriend in the comics? So
I know nothing about her, and Young Justice has been a nice show for me to like. JLU was at the time. It was a nice show for me to learn more about characters I didn't already know about. Most of the direct-to-video DC movies are just this is Superman 1. This is Batman 1. Here's a
Right.
Superman 1. And then, but yeah, Young Justice has all these other characters, especially in the teen range, that I'd never heard of because I never read any of those. So it was nice, and it'll be nice to have that again.
I was a huge fan of the original Young Justice book by Peter David, and Todd Knock did the art. And it was really cool to see the show evolve because it kind of started as a Teen Titans show where even the original members are kind of a callback to the original Titans, like Kid Flash, Speedy, Robin, and Aqualad. That's the Teen Titans.
Is Impulse becoming Kid Flash?
It looks like it. Yeah, he's got something similar. It's actually like right at the Titans Judas contract movie. Like Kid Flash is in that for a second. It looks like they have the same costume. Just Outsiders, but it's a different Kid Flash.
Maybe it's one of those Speedy things. Like,
I
don't need a
Speedy
costume.
Right. But
if you don't know what we're talking about, check out our video.
It looks like Outsiders is bringing Arrowette, and so now it's going like we're getting so much closer to the actual lineup of Young Justice from the comics. Like when I think of Young Justice, it's Tim Drake, Connor Kent, Bart Allen, and Cassie Sandsmark, and we're gonna have all those characters on the team.
So Impulse becoming awesome. Kid Flash is a thing that is not.
That does happen. Okay. It happens in the comics. Yeah, in the Teen Titans run. But
I've not read like barely any of those. So whenever something happens on Young Justice, I just assume it's an original idea for them to show, but usually it's probably not.
It's not. Yeah, a lot of it's adaptation from something. But anyway,
I like
coming
the inclusion
soon.
of Static though. Like I'm glad that he sticks around in the background of things. Like remember me, I'm Static. I exist. The only other thing I had, because I looked for a while and couldn't find anything, was the yesterday they released I don't want to say yesterday maybe because it's not yesterday anymore, but they released the first image for Batman Ninja, which he looks like a Batman ninja, sure doesn't he?
I haven't seen the first image yet.
Oh, Google that. There's a Batman in a ninja suit. It looks pretty cool. Or this is really interesting for listeners.
Yeah, looking me up.
Listen to Ted type. It's a eye-popping addition to the Batman animated legacy, according to Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
Which news source are you looking at?
Slash Film, but it's probably on various other places.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of sources using clips from the Batman Gotham. Is it Gotham Knight? That was part of the DC original animated movies. Are you sure it's not part of that?
I don't think it is, because a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, brand new image for the first time," but now.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen it.
Well, I gotta figure this out. Batman Ninja image? Question mark.
You're gonna get a bunch of Ninja Turtles.
Ah, you're right. That's what you got. I'm assuming. Okay, no, Batman. When I type just Batman Ninja, top stories, there's a picture from that anime that you're thinking of, and then the other ones are the new thing, I think.
Who can tell?
Well, let's skip this story because
that's the thing. It's happening. There's a lot of interesting people involved in that. Afro Samurai creator Takashi Okazaki. Yeah, it's gonna be the character designer on the movie, and it's gonna be directed by Junpei Mizusaki, who's a technical animator on some Mega Man games. Which I haven't played, but I think like Mega Man 8.
That's a weird little small world kind of connection there. There's Mega Man has several little cameos in the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures series.
He does. Circle. Just because the artist John Samaravia I think he sneaks Mega Man in the background.
Like everything he draws, yeah. I need to start doing something like that. I should start putting some weird thing into Legacies.
Yeah, Batman Ninja is also gonna have talent from Kill la Kill and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So there's a lot of fans of anime. I think there's a lot of names here that should get you excited for the movie.
I think it'll be a good one artistically for sure. I've never seen any of those things that are involved with this movie, but
Yeah, they're all supposed to be really good. I've seen bits and pieces, but
Animated
anyway, that's Batman
stuff.
Ninja. Yeah, it's always good. I've got one more for news. Just to
Go for it.
Finish this out here. So over this summer at San Diego Comic-Con, DC Animation released their upcoming slate. That included Gotham by Gaslight, which we mentioned earlier. But it's also, after that, we're going to get a new Suicide Squad film. So the second Suicide Squad, the first was Assault in Arkham, that was set in the Arkham video game universe.
Right.
But this one's called Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Which,
and it'll be in the new 52E.
Yeah, the newer DC movie verse. So it's gonna pick up on that. It's not really certain which team it's gonna feature, but it'll probably be similar to the recent movie.
You think someday they're gonna do a even newer 52? They'll
yeah,
just call it newest 52.
Right. Or maybe even 53.
Oh boy.
Ooh,
That's really changing up the universe there. Use a dramatic event. The big summer blockbuster event, 53.
Exactly.
So will also after all that you know.
After we get that Suicide Squad movie, we're gonna have a 2-part Death and Return of Superman adaptation, which is supposed to be a lot closer to what the actual comics were, rather than 2007 Superman Doomsday. So we can expect to see stuff like Steel and Superboy, Cyborg Superman, Eradicator, all that stuff. Black Suit Superman.
I guess I'm excited to see that stuff. It's just kind of bothersome that they keep just... I guess this is the first time that they've retreaded one they've already done, technically, but they...
Yeah.
It just... What does it remind me? It just reminds me of, like, just the movie, the Hollywood game in general, of just... You remember this thing? Here it is, but bad, different, maybe
it's
better
classic,
question mark.
though.
I know, but just
hopefully
find a different thing. I've already...
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe I'm ruining
It's gonna be different than... unless you've read the book, they really haven't adapted the story so truthfully.
Maybe I'm in the minority on when they made the Dark Knight Blu-ray thing, it was
The
like
Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah, it was like, okay, here it is. Here's the comic.
The 2-part animated movie.
Yeah, and it's like here's the comic. You're like, okay, thanks. Like everyone raves that, oh, that's the best animated Batman movie. It's so much better than everything else, and like it's just the comic just doing. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it had Michael Emerson as the Joker. He's awesome. He was from Lost. He's gonna be the new season of Arrow. He's great.
I think most people do like seeing comics become cartoons, like literally, like right panel for panel. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Well, I like all the DCAU stuff because it like combines comic stuff with original ideas and original characters, and of course I'm biased about that, but you know.
But in this one, Superman has a mullet.
Oh,
he didn't have a mullet
before. That's fine.
That's something we're missing in our movies now. Like Batman, Harley Quinn, there were no mullets at all on characters that were supposed to have mullets. Where are the mullets?
Hashtag bring back the mullet.
Yeah.
No, I'm for mullet Superman in Justice League, which is a good segue into the main topic of today's show, which is our expectations for the Justice League movie.
That's what the show's about.
Oh, yeah. Because we've gone a little over time on our news. It's a little too much news. We need to not have as many newses next time, maybe. So there's a Justice League movie coming out next month. We've known about it for quite some time. It's the first time that there's ever been a Justice League movie, so it's a pretty big deal. What are you thinking? What's on your mind about this?
I'm excited for it, and I really want it to be good. Mm-hmm. Because I was really disappointed with Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman last year. It is painful to watch those sometimes, and I want it to be a movie that can be accessible by everyone. Like just as entertaining as going to a Marvel movie. You know, like
yeah.
Instead of leaving, kind of being like, oh my gosh, that was a endurance test.
Yeah,
I made it through.
Yeah, okay. I hope that it'll be. I'll leave I agree that I hope that I leave the theater with that same feeling coming out of a Marvel movie. I don't want to make too many Marvel movie comparisons.
No, I mean,
because
it's so
that
easy
seems to be
that.
like, yeah.
But you want that like
time,
sense of hope and optimism, right? That's what I want in my Justice League.
Yeah, well, I want the feeling I get when I leave the Avengers or one of the like Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the better Marvel movies. Because I wouldn't say that about all the Marvel movies. Like when I leave Doctor Strange or something, I'm like, oh, it was a thing. Thor: The Dark World, that happened.
Oh yeah, it did. Try to forget that one.
Portals. But yeah, I mean, my disappointment level has fluctuated for every DC extended universe movie so far. I didn't have I wish I could remember how I felt coming out of Man of Steel, because it's been so long and there's been so many people, you know, with very what am I trying to say here? The internet is very decided about Man of Steel, and I wish I could remember how I personally felt coming out of it without being influenced by other reviewers.
Yeah. I know my experience, Man of Steel, it was one of the last movies I ever saw at like a midnight premiere, you know, because now you can go on a Thursday and catch one at like 7. Yeah. So Man of Steel was one of the last ones I saw at midnight, and I fell asleep during the action scene.
Well, there you go.
When he and Grodd were punching each other through the buildings. Yeah.
Yeah, you went to see a Superman movie.
I was exhausted. I was exhausted. It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of a longer movie too. Not as long as Batman vs Superman, but
no.
I think Titanic is the only thing that beats that. There's yeah, I mean, it's been a weird angle DC's taken on these movies. You know, not I'm gonna keep coming back to Marvel because the only thing
so easy to compare.
They Marvel's
started
gone.
The cinematic universe.
Here's this guy, and this guy, and then here's a movie where they all come together. That was pretty cool because you already know all these guys. And then, but this has been, here's a movie about our like flagship guy. Like we're starting off with Superman. And I guess for the differences, like Marvel had no rights to Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, like the more household names, and they just like, here's Iron Man, we'll see if it works. And then it worked because it was a good movie. And now people like us are probably, Iron Man is probably as much a household name as Spider-Man at this point, I would say. And it's only been like 9 years since the movie came out. Which is saying a lot. But you know, Superman, everyone knows who Superman is. My great grandpa knew who Superman was, obviously, because he's the American classic.
Yeah,
he's
the original
superhero personified. And but you know, it's really hard to make a Superman movie apparently. And you know, I think I was probably felt pretty mediocre about it. If I am trying to judge my initial reaction, like I really like the look of all of the Zack Snyder superhero movies, but then when you leave the theater and think about it for more than 30 seconds, you're like, wait, what happened in that movie? I liked looking at it, but what? So I don't know.
That was a big problem for me when I saw Batman versus Superman. I was just like leaving and being like, oh, there's so many plot holes here. But then to be fair, I saw the Ultimate Edition. The director's cut, and it did answer.
I gave it a chance.
So
I downloaded the Ultimate Edition as soon as it was available, and it changes your outlook on it, I think.
It does a little bit. It fills in the gaps.
Yeah, I think a big problem with everything with this universe of movies so far is that people like us, we want the movies to be good, So we keep giving them more and more chances. Like, I'm going to go see Justice League because I'm optimistic about it. But like the average Joe, if you're just a guy, you went and saw Man of Steel and you were kind of meh. You went and saw Batman vs Superman and you were just like, wow, that was bad. And then you just didn't even see Suicide Squad or maybe Wonder Woman. And then Justice League is going to come out and you're like, what? Why would I see this? So But I don't know. Maybe just the name recognition of Justice League and the characters that are going to be in it are enough for people to want to see it regardless. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think so. And especially after Wonder Woman, that was an amazing hit for DC.
Yeah.
It was definitely a course correcting. You know, that's kind of, I feel like Wonder Woman was the first movie where Jeff Johns got more involved. They kind of they took a step back to really look at how the universe was forming.
Okay,
and so,
what are we doing wrong?
yeah. But it looks like they, it's still tangentially connected to Batman versus Superman, but it stands on its own. It's a good movie. And it does a great job introducing Wonder Woman. And I think she's going to be one of the driving forces of the Justice League movie, probably for that reason, because her movie did so well. So they've got Robin Wright and Connie Nielsen coming back.
Yeah, the Amazons are going to be back.
Yeah. And they're going to introduce all these other supporting cast members from like Aquaman's world. You know, you've got Amber Heard being introduced as Mira. I think Willem Dafoe is cast as Volko. Who's
I'm looking forward to that.
Advisor, yeah.
He'll just appear.
Exactly. It'll be fun to see the whole DC universe start to come together. Be more cohesive. And personally, I've always wanted to see the Fourth World, Jack Kirby's Fourth World characters, be realized on a theater screen. Seeing like Orion fight Darkseid on the theater has just been like a dream of mine, you know? So I'm super excited to see that. And I really hope that they can introduce these Fourth World characters in the best way possible and give us, Mr. Miracle and Barda and like boom tubes and everything, mother boxes. I want to see all of it.
That's something I hadn't thought about. I wonder if maybe the next Justice League movie, if they end up on Apocalypse and stuff, if they will bring in like Highfather and Orion and all those guys. That could be pretty cool. Didn't even cross my mind that would maybe be a thing.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, I mean, if it was just Justice League fighting Darkseid and that was it, like they don't bring in anything else, that would be a little disappointing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. People like Metron will probably show up. Yeah,
just throw everything at them.
Do it.
The audience, no, everyone knows this stuff. That was something I was going to mention was the. Of course, I immediately forget it. Oh God, no, the thought is gone. Oh well.
Well, moving on.
The approach.
Yeah, they're packing so much into that movie. And I'm glad that it's got like people like Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder on this. If anyone's gonna be able to handle a movie of this scope, it's them.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I'm gonna interrupt you.
Yeah, do it.
A weird comparison between this and the Marvel stuff is like everyone that whenever a Marvel movie comes out, like almost everyone I know goes and sees it because they're like, oh, I've seen every other one so far. I got to go to see this one, even if it's not going to be that great. And that's what they've like built so far is like there's just this one, even though a lot of them are standalone-ish, there's all these connections to the larger universe. And so everyone wants to, I don't want to make sure I don't miss anything. But then these ones like have fluctuated so much on whether people see them or whether people enjoy them, and they're still connecting the stories. So like even the trailer for Justice League, they just flat out say like the world is in mourning after the death of the Superman or whatever, and it's like, okay, if you didn't see Batman vs Superman, which a lot of people didn't because they heard it was bad, you just spoiled the fact that Superman dies. And then sorry if anyone's listening to this, you're just banking on that people have seen Batman vs Superman to understand like a lot of the jump starting of the plot for Justice League, but maybe people haven't, and that's a weird thing with this movie universe specifically is they just hope that I hope you saw it instead of knowing that you saw it. Like of course every Marvel movie doesn't get the exact same box office, of course, but I don't know.
It seems like DC's aware of that, and from what I've read, they're doing a de-emphasis on that going forward. So they're probably going to make their movies stand on their own a little more. So
that could be good or bad. Like I hope they just keep doing. If they keep doing movies like Wonder Woman, where the 5 minutes of the movie, just a reminder, it's there's Bruce Wayne is also here in this universe or whatever, and then the whole movie is just barely connected to anything else. That would be fine with me. That's basically like what the Thor movies do, and Captain America is the first.
Or
one.
like in the occasional guest star, like DC, they can surely find a way to bring in like more minor characters. And
Booster Gold.
Whatnot. Yeah, Booster Gold, or like I know Justice League Dark.
Cat, oh my god.
Yeah, this cat's been crazy. Hey.
Just I don't even know what it's knocking over. I can just hear.
Yeah, come on, get out. You're being crazy. All right, hopefully she stops.
I think I've sufficiently yelled into your ears enough for the cat to hear me.
Thanks for yelling at the cat. But yeah, what I was gonna say is it would be so cool to see these future movies have a bit more overlap. Like we see an Aquaman movie. Maybe there's a cameo from like the Sea Devils or some like really obscure DC group like that.
Quisp.
Quisp, the underwater imp from like something.
I mean, they brought in they bring in random stuff. Like Batman vs Superman is full of just references and cameos by things that the average viewer wouldn't know.
Sure. You've got the
like
KG
Omega
Beast.
symbol. Yeah, KG Beast. Yeah, that is not, and he just dies before.
Hey, spoilers.
Jimmy
again.
Olsen just dies.
Who dies? Again. Superman, who just dies. So.
Maybe they'll do that was just some guy named Jimmy Olsen. It wasn't the Jimmy Olsen, you guys. Just assuming. Way to assume.
Yeah.
They'll bring him back. Like, here he is. Sorry.
Exactly. Carol Ferris. She was in it too.
Yeah, that's true. I hope they do something with her. Like, I hope that wasn't just we put her
She
in
could
Man
be a
of Steel.
Star Sapphire one day.
Yeah. Well, because it feels, when they did stuff with Man of Steel, it is the same line of thinking as doing stuff with the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie. Like, they put in Amanda Waller into that movie. They put in, oh my God, the bad guy.
Hector Hammond.
No. The big old cloud boy. He's not really a cloud in the
Parallax.
comics.
Parallax.
Yeah. But just stuff like that are like, oh, maybe, later on we'll come back to this. And then they just they even give Sinestro like a yellow ring at the post credits.
Yeah, and Mark Strong was a great Sinestro.
He was,
I wouldn't mind if they brought him back for the cinematic universe.
Yeah,
they should bring him back in some capacity.
Yeah, there's some actors in the early interpretations of stuff like that they J. Jonah Jameson, they get perfect, and then they're like, well, I can't ever put that character back in anything because no one will like it as much. They realize it. Yeah.
Nice, Commissioner Gordon.
He's in. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if they give him like a wig, because the man is bald, very bald.
Yeah.
And I don't think Commissioner Gordon's ever been bald.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. He was bald in Scott Snyder's run on Batman, in the super heavy arc when Gordon becomes Batman.
Yeah, okay.
He shaved his mustache too.
That's true. Yeah, I need to read
weird.
that.
It was good.
It's been on my list ever since I looked at it and went, is Gordon now like 30 years old? Because it just makes him look like that whenever they shave his mustache off.
Yeah. Well, Scott Snyder's been kind of doing some rebooting stuff for that. Check out the 0 Year arc. That kind of gives you a better sense of Gordon's.
If anyone's listening to this podcast who reads a lot of comic books, just know that you'll connect more with Ted than me, because
I know my stuff.
I've read like 1% of the comics that Ted has read, and I've read now like a year's worth of like 6 different titles. And that seems like a lot to me. Yeah, I as soon as Rebirth started, I was like, now's the time. And I got Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Action, Detective, Justice League, Trinity, and just all the white bread basic ones. All the pumpkin spice latte comics. And then I've been reading those for over a year now since that started, and I've still got like a piece of paper in Ted's 6 reams of paper or more of comics. That's a weird analogy to make. Did you understand what I was saying
Reams
there?
of paper? I'm not sure.
So
if
the amount of comics that I have is equal to the density and width of one piece of paper, then yours is equal to several reams.
Binder.
It was a weird metaphor. I'm sorry. It was
you
still
might be
paper.
right.
Comics are made of paper.
It might go, I probably
Just your
have
imagination.
maybe 15 or 16 long boxes of books, which a lot of people have hundreds. So
Yeah.
I've
I'm
always
sure
been
that-
more of a
yeah.
DC collector. I've never really dabbled or like got my feet wet that much in the Marvel universe. Besides the movies and whatnot, I haven't really read a whole lot of Marvel comics.
Yeah. I have
but
like
yeah.
2 Marvel comics.
Nice. Well, I got into DC probably about like 15 years ago. It was when they were doing like the lead up to Infinite Crisis. So they were publishing Identity Crisis, Jeff Johns' Teen Titans, that era. So as soon as Infinite Crisis hit and it went into the 52 weekly series, I was hooked. That's probably when I first really started collecting.
I think it was probably good for me to wait until Rebirth. Like, I still have to backtrack and read a handful of New 52 things to kind of get, like, my bearings on what's happening and some of the references and stuff. But I remember I got a Superman comic in, like, 2002 or something. I can't remember even how I got it. It might have come in, like, a friggin' mac and cheese box or something stupid. Because I didn't seek it out. I just somehow ended up with it. And it was, like, I don't even remember what the story was, but it was whoever drew Superman, Batman, Public Enemies.
Ed McGuinness, yeah.
It was that style, and it was like a Toyman issue, and Toyman was just sending all these robots all over town, and Metallo was in it, and he was a giant robot man and all this stuff. Like, he was much more hulking and Terminator-esque than he was in the cartoon, and I remember immediately being like turned off to it because it was like, this isn't the cartoon. I don't like this. It's weird. Why is Toyman a man and not a weird clown guy in a mask? Like, it was just so, it was weird to me. And I couldn't adapt for some reason. So I guess comic books aren't for me. I'll just keep watching the cartoons. And then now I pick them up. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I could have been reading these for the last like 10 or 15 years and being so much more ahead of myself than right now.
Mm-hmm. And they've taken a lot of cues from the DC animated universe now. Like, there's so many characters who either their costume changed to reflect the cartoons or it happens all the time.
Yeah, there's
we've been talking about comics.
We've gotten off topic.
We should announce that our topic is comic relief.
Did we want to go into that, or did we have anything more to say about expectations for the Justice League movie? Because we got a lot off topic from that completely. I hope it's good.
We'll see. We'll definitely talk about it again after we watch it.
Yeah, there will be I'm
still
sure
optimistic.
an entire episode. Yeah, the trailers look good. I think they're maybe trying a little too hard to make it more like it's fun, it's funny. Look, it's fun. It's gonna be good. It's not dark and sad. But maybe I just hope it's not too drastic of a tonal shift from Batman vs Superman. Like, I think making it more optimistic and positive is a good idea, but if they do it too much, then, you watch these movies in 20 years and you're like, why did that suddenly become so, like, you don't see any of the behind the scenes politics of everything anymore, and you just are watching movies. Like, so I don't know. I want it to be more cheerful and funny, but I don't want it to be like just an immediately Marvel movie with Batman. So
hopefully not.
Just find a happy medium.
Yeah.
Okay, we were basically already in comic relief. That's the next segment. It's called comic relief. Ted does
right.
Yeah, do it. You say it. You're the guy.
Yeah, I do weekly comic book recommendations on our Facebook and Instagram social media pages.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, same day new comic books come out. So this is named after that.
We're not necessarily going to talk about the same comic that he recommends there, but
no, I'm going to talk about something I read this week.
Okay.
Which might be something you're reading, James, and it might be spoilers. So we'll see. Detective Comics number 965. Oh no, you haven't read that yet?
Mr. Oz thing?
Yeah, it's Tim Drake in Mr. Oz's prison. That happened.
Wait, what?
How far are you in Detective?
Wait, are you saying Mr. Oz is Tim Drake?
No, it's Mr. Oz has kidnapped Tim Drake.
No, I knew that.
Okay.
What? That happened a long time ago.
Yeah, and now we're finally picking back up with Tim Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were okay.
No, we do find out who Mr. Oz is. They do reveal Mr. Oz in this issue. They revealed it in Superman recently.
I can't decide if I want you to tell me.
Oh, you don't know who it is? All right, I'm gonna skip over the spoilers. Skipping around that.
Okay.
What we do see is Tim Drake is still in the prison. He and Mr. Oz have a long discussion about why he's there. Which is pretty much because Mr. Oz keeps saying him, which we can probably infer is Dr. Manhattan, believes that Tim Drake is a big enough threat to what he's doing, messing around with time and whatnot. So he's keeping him. Mr. Oz is keeping Tim Drake in this prison.
Sorry, I was just gonna say this. I know obviously it's not the same Tim Drake as in the cartoons, but it would be funny if he's like, no, Tim Drake, he's a threat to the time stream because he never ages. He's 13 in New Batman Adventures, and he's still 13. He still looks 13 in Return of the Joker flashback, like 6 years later. So,
nope.
I gotta stop. I gotta capture this guy.
He's
this key to immortality.
But what they did do in this is there was a big retcon. It's not really retcon because it basically gave Tim Drake his origin that he had originally in the early 90s. And this arc is called A Lonely Place of Living, which is a direct spoof on A Lonely Place of Dying, which was the story that introduced Tim. So in the New 52, Tim Drake's history was rewritten a little bit, so he never became Robin. Yeah, he was straight up just Red Robin, and the whole Batman timeline was condensed. Yeah, it was kind of dumb, and it took away it gave him a really dumb costume too. So Rebirth has been fixing that, and it's reestablished that yes, he was a Robin, and it was the same origin. He was inspired by Dick Grayson. He watched Dick Grayson's parents get murdered at Haley's Circus, and so he was able to piece together Dick Grayson's acrobat style with Robin's fighting style. And so once he knew that Bruce Wayne was Batman, Dick Grayson was Robin, he was able to come up with all this other evidence.
That seems like something that average what's the word? When you're paid the amount that the government minimal payment for a job.
Minimum wage.
God damn it. When that seems like something a minimum wage detective could figure out, not the greatest being in the universe or something.
I hope our government's paying detectives better than minimum wage.
Yeah, me too. But this guy backflips the same way that the other guy backflips. Said the master of all realities.
Well, there was other evidence too, but that was kind of the first clue. But anyway, so there was that whole retcon that was really cool. But this is a little bit spoilers, not Mr. Oz spoilers, but Tim Drake, he is probably the worst person that Mr. Oz or Dr. Manhattan want to keep as a prisoner because he's the smartest teenager in the world.
He's going to break out.
So, yeah, he hacks Mr. Oz's system. He breaks himself out, goes, runs through the hallway, and in breaking himself out, he accidentally opens every other door in the prison. Ooh. So now it's just a prison riot, and he runs into a futuristic Tim Drake, who's actually from Jeff John and Mike McCone's 2003 run on Teen Titans. There's an arc called Titans of Tomorrow.
Robin 3000.
It's not from Robin 3000, and it's not from Future's End, because there was a older Tim Drake who became Batman Beyond in that. It's not that one. It is exactly the Tim Drake from Titans of Tomorrow, where he becomes Batman, and he actually has a gun. He has a gun that is the same gun Joe Chill used to kill Bruce Wayne's parents. So he's like repurposing the gun for justice. But it's so cool to see this version from Jeff Johns' Titans of Tomorrow arc, which is an amazing story arc.
Yeah.
And it really plays well with Tim's fears early in the issue, where he's afraid of becoming Batman. He never wants to be Batman. He wants to be his own person. And before he died in this current run of Detective Comics, he was thinking about quitting and going off to college.
Right, yeah. I'm at least caught up with that, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the next time we see him. But yeah, so that's what's going on in Detective Comics number 965. If you want to know who Mr. Oz is, just Google it. It's all over the internet.
Yeah, I keep seeing YouTube videos pop up. Mr. Oz revealed 6 question marks, and I'm like, no, I don't want to see this.
I don't think that is the true reveal. I think there's still layers to uncover. I think it's still a red herring. I don't think that mystery is completely resolved.
Because the red herring was Ozymandias from Watchmen.
Right, and maybe it still is, but that's not. I will say that's not who it is in this issue.
Okay.
But anyway, so it ends with Tim and older Tim in the corridors, and they run into Doomsday. Doomsday has been released, and now it's Tim Drake and Tim Drake against Doomsday.
I remember because he captures him in Action Comics,
yeah. Yeah. So that's where it leaves off, and I truly hope that the next issue or two will reveal that other people who've been kept prisoner are Connor Kent and Bart Allen.
Yeah.
Cassie Sandsmark. Bring the whole Young Justice team back together. I truly hope that happens.
Yeah, and maybe something to do with
they've all been missing in Rebirth.
Yeah. But there was that Legion of Superheroes thing teased in the Rebirth initial thing.
Saturn Girl being in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, I think that's been followed up in like Superwoman and stuff, things that I haven't been reading, so I don't really know what's going on with that.
There's been elements. I think Doomsday Clock is going to pick that back up.
Okay.
That and the bit about the JSA with Johnny Thunder.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It was all in the Button
to
too.
stuff,
I think the Flash and the Batman crossover, the Button, is going to drop a lot of clues for where Doomsday Clock is going to go.
Yeah, we might as well do what I'm reading because we're still already talking about it. Like, because I was just going to talk about kind of recent, like Metal and recent Rebirth stuff. I would just continue what we were just talking about. That was like the main reason I started. That I wanted to start with the Rebirth stuff was the Watchmen connections. Because I like Watchmen a lot. It's a great book, and I actually like the movie quite a bit too. I
agree. Yeah, I thought it stayed very true to it. And Damon Lindelof is developing a show for HBO.
Right. And that's something that excited me was connecting those two things. That like, oh, it's not just published by DC Comics or whatever. It's technically something that's like becoming canon, basically. And so yeah, whenever they do this, like the Button or Doomsday Clock and that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that I'm like, oh yes, I actually want to spend money on this, and not because when I'm like I'm being too OCD about all of it and like just buying every issue and reading every story because there's just always this like, oh, and this for these 3 issues, Superman and his son go to the Island of Dinosaurs, Island of Time Forgot, whatever that's called. And you know, that's it. It has nothing to do with the main Watchmen thing. And I was like, I had to read this. I spent like $6 on it. So, but you know.
Yeah,
whatever.
Sometimes you get filler stories like that, but
yeah. I guess, you know, if every episode of Justice League was Cadmus, then it'd become less exciting. So.
Yeah, exactly. But you've enjoying Metal so far?
Yeah, I wish that I knew a lot more about DC Comics in general, like you do, because like there's been a lot of just references
from all
like
over the place.
Yeah, like Hawkman stuff and Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff. That's just like, and I've read most of that, but I don't remember it as well as you do. Like I read it like once and I go like, I read that thing because when
a lot
they
of
show
Grant Morrison stuff too.
A
lot of Final Crisis, Return of Bruce Wayne, and the whole Barbados Bat Demon stuff goes back to Batman: Dark Knight, Dark City by Peter Milligan. That was from the 80s.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's really inclusive of a story. It's pulling from all over the place. And are you caught up on issue 2?
Yeah, but I'm not caught up on any of the spin-off metal,
Gotcha.
like Batman this guy.
Right. I
Which I
read
wanna
Batman: The
read.
Red Death. The Red Death was pretty solid. And I've got the Murder Machine, which seems to be the cyborg one. I need to read that one next.
Oh, and I
but-
got to go to the store after we're done recording this so I can get
There you go.
whatever the next one is, yeah.
Yeah, number 2 is pretty fun. It had Baby Darkseid from
See, that's
Darkseid
something-
War.
Because I haven't read that yet, so I was just like, I don't know why he's a baby, LOL. I'll just keep reading.
It's a really complicated reason why.
Yeah.
So.
Metal is a good example of a very strong, layered story that you have to have read 30 other things to understand. That drives me insane with it. This is like, I guess another Cadmus comparison in JLU is like you know what's going on, but you get a lot more out of it if you know who Dr. Milo is and who Hugo Strange is and all this stuff that they make cameos and little things. They mention Kirk Langstrom and all these things. You're like, oh, I know what that is. They has such deep ties to things from so long ago. And now this is doing the same thing, but I don't know those things. So or very well. Like you pointed out that the friggin' like anti-monitor, like
Yeah, the
things
tower.
that they're just, when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that is that thing. But when I saw it at first, and it's this big splash page reveal, the thing. Look at the thing that Batman has. And I'm like, I don't know what that thing is. What does this matter?
Yeah, it also helps they come back in Infinite Crisis, and there's a whole sequence where like Alexander Luthor Jr., who's the villain of Infinite Crisis, the sequel to the original Crisis, he's like, he has to get a representative from each of what would be a parallel world and like strap them down to that giant tower thing so you can access the multiverse. So it was a big plot point throughout DC.
Okay.
It's a thing.
No, I know it's important. I just couldn't remember because
And all the metals, they're talking about how there's like 8 or 9 different types of metals that are all important, and that all goes back to throughout Scott Snyder's run on Batman. He's introduced this stuff throughout it, like Court of Owls. There was that special metal in the Talon's teeth that would turn them immortal. So that was one of them.
There's vibranium, adamantium,
yeah, right. Nth metal,
unobtainium.
We'll see. My favorite part of metal so far, I forget if it was number 1 or 2. I think it was number 2, where it's like the Council of Immortals are sitting around the table and they're just we've got the astral brain of the Anti-Monitor, and we have to go stab it in project it in the center of the dark multiverse and stab it. It was just like, what?
That was a scene that I actually understood probably 99% of the references and characters.
Nice.
And it was at the same time one of the most technobabble jargon Star Trek nerdy scenes of just like, but I'm like so glued to it. Oh yeah, no, say dark matter again, yes. Instead of just,
and know they're gonna do that. That's their real plan. It sounds so crazy, but they're gonna try to do whatever it is they said that they're gonna do.
You can't mix this with this. No, well,
Shazam sitting there with like Ra's al Ghul, who's like, I know I'm the youngest one.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. Like, I know I'm the baby here.
Yeah. You are Ra's al Ghul.
Still,
you're only like 600 years old.
I was gonna say you're still like almost 1,000 years old. Yeah. No, I thought that was really cool. It reminded me a lot of some kind of plot thready stuff that we're gonna explore in Legacies at some point.
Smashing up all sorts of ideas.
Yeah. That's been something that's been annoying to me. There's no way to prove this to anyone that's listening, but there's been a lot of stuff that we've thought up that we thought we were so cool and original for Legacies, and then someone, Jeff Johnsey just does it, and we're like, but it's gonna look like we're stealing from him. It's a compliment to our brains, I guess.
It happens a lot. But or maybe a shared collective unconscious.
Yeah.
Right? Carl Jung would be he's smiling in his grave right now.
There's some kind of weird collective Dr. Manhattan-y like force that's driving us all to the same brainwave, and then
who knows? We started planning for Legacies probably in like 2012 or so.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of time for us to
I feel confident that we had the idea for the Throne of Atlantis story arc.
Yes,
before that
it
happened.
Yes, definitely.
when like Aquaman and the Atlanteans come out to wage war on Earth. And...
There was a scene in I just like last year watched the Throne of Atlantis animated adaptation. There was some scene with them rising out of the water to attack the shore that was like exactly what I had pictured drawing for that. And there's no way to prove that we thought of that, but we definitely thought of that. So.
We thought of it. That's a good idea. Good job, Jeff Johns.
Yeah, thanks. Where's our royalties checks that we didn't cash in on?
That we don't deserve.
Yeah. There's something else. There's been at least 2 or 3 other things that I'll read and be like, God damn it, we can't do that now.
we released the Asylum issue right before the Batman Harley Quinn movie came out.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
both had Nightwing mullet jokes.
Yeah. Yep. We were already gonna make a joke about
That's
Nightwing's
low,
hair changing.
low fruit though. Oops. Easy pickings.
Yeah, true.
Low hanging fruit.
Everyone's picking on the mullet. Everyone wants a mullet, or
This
doesn't.
is second time we brought it up in this episode.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's all the in the last like few years in my old high school, all of the baseball and football players, it's just like a meme among them, I guess, to grow a mullet for like the end of the season. And
Oh, wow.
It's really disgusting. I wish they would not do that because I don't like looking at it. All these 17-year-old guys with mullets in 2017.
No. I bet the ladies don't either.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, we've talked quite a bit for today.
Yeah, we got a full episode here.
Yeah. What else do we need to say? I mean, that's pretty much the show. Hopefully it was at least somewhat entertaining.
Let us know.
Oh, that was disgusting. Say that
Let
again?
us know if this is something you want us to do more of.
Yeah.
To the audience, yeah.
It'll get better over time. We're being too pessimistic about it. I think it was actually not that bad.
We talked about some stuff.
Yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, we might read questions on the show here if you have, topics you want us to talk about or just things you want our opinions on, maybe hear us. Hey, what do you guys think of Campbell's soup? Is it too thin? Does it have enough noodles in it? And then we'll talk about that for about that long, and then we'll stop talking about it.
Yeah,
you can get in contact with us by tweeting at us. We're at DCAU Watchtower, or you can email us info@watchtowerdatabase.com.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Same, DCAU Watchtower. We're every other Monday. We said we were going to try and do this.
That's the plan. Yeah. Starting now.
Yeah. Right now I'm working on another video for the Watchtower Database channel. It's going to be about Wonder Woman related. And we got Maddie, Timeline Guy, working on a video script for the presidents in the DCAU, the presidents of the United States / when does JLU take place, like calendar year wise. It'll be part of a new sort of series we're doing with him of timeline-based videos on like specific little chunks of the timeline. That'll be fun to explore.
We've got Legacies number 4 in the works and close. It's getting there.
Yep, I'm almost done drawing it, and then Marcelo has already finished pencils for the next issue, the next 6-pager. Which is a follow-up to Asylum, so that'll be coming out. Those will both be coming out in the next couple months. I think number 4 will be later this month if I get my butt into gear.
Yep.
Because I got lots of stuff to do. You want videos, you want comics. You can't. You gotta pick and choose.
And I am. I'm probably on like issue 13 or 14 in terms of scripts, but I got a little bit of editing I gotta do in between. Yeah.
There's lots of good stuff coming up. I just got to produce it faster.
Exactly.
People complaining about like Dark Knight 3 Master Race coming out, like, oh, it takes like 3 months for an issue to come out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, oops. Yeah. But
but they're getting paid for it.
That's very true. Which we got a Patreon.
We do have Patreon.
We do these
JTS Entertainment.
Yeah, that's our like kind of collective studio sort of thing for Legacies and Watchtower Database and comedy sketches and movie reviews and all the stuff that we do. This podcast, etc., etc. That's our new movie that we're making that Ted sort of helped write-ish.
Via reality. I came up with the title.
Yeah,
I
that's
came up
true.
with
You
the
did.
title.
You did. I was just calling it Google Plus Movie for a long time because I didn't know what to call it. That's about me getting sucked into YouTube to fight Google. It's in the process of being made. You can see a couple trailers on the GTS Entertainment channel. I'm going to stop plugging things now because we got to stop talking because people are done listening to this. You probably stopped listening a while ago. If you're still listening right now, then thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
See you next
later.
time.
Good sign off
Cool.
that we just did. We got to come up
that was
with
it.
a sign off, an actual sign off. Hope you have a great day. No,
Hags. Have a great summer.
Summer is here, you guys. And you know what that means.
I'm going to stop recording.